Hi, Sydney. So you are a fitness professional, a nutritionist, and a mom.
Yep.
What does being healthy mean to you?
Yeah, it's a big question. I'm glad you gave me a heads up on this because I've been thinking about it. And it has to be, for me, at least, it has to be finding a way to balance a certain number of things.
Mm.
Definitely healthy nutrition,
Yeah.
exercise,
Yep.
getting enough sleep,
Mhm.
finding a way to be social, and finding a way to be mentally stimulated in the way that you want to be. So
Right.
different for everybody.
Yeah.
And within each of those, for the nutrition, and that's what I spend so much of my day talking about when I counsel clients. Of course, it means having enough fruits and vegetables, drinking enough water, enough fiber, making sure most of your grains are whole versus the refined carbohydrates, lean proteins, healthy fats. But it also means, having worked with the other end of the spectrum, meaning eating disorders, it also means not being afraid to have a cookie or two or have some cake, and really truly finding that moderation, not using that as an excuse, saying, oh, I do this in moderation, I do that in moderation, but really embracing that moderation of mostly healthy, but not 100%. Because I think at that point, you lose the happiness with it. When I always tell people, if I'm suggesting a food and you're not going to do it, please tell me, because you have to like what you're going to eat.
Right.
And that ties into my bigger, another point about what does health mean to me. All of those things that I just mentioned have to be sustainable.
Sustainable, yeah.
Because I meet so many people, or I work with so many people that do something, let's say it's a fad diet, it hurts my ears. Like, I cringe immediately. It's like, no, this isn't going to last, but people love it because it's fast and it's different and it's something to focus on. And when it doesn't last, it's like, well, here we are at square one. So it has to be sustainable, whether it's what you're eating or an exercise. When somebody starts like, oh, I'm running 10 miles a day. It's not sustainable, so finding within that, the sustainability, usually in my part, it has to tie back to you like it enough to keep doing it.
You're doing it.
Yeah. And so there's always the balance, again, that word balance of you like it enough and it has enough of the healthy things. Maybe there's some cookies in there, but you also have a ton of fruits and vegetables and not so much red meat and tons of water. And with the exercise, ideally you like it, you use it for stress relief. It makes you happy. Hopefully there's some strength training, some cardiovascular work.
Right.
Hopefully,
Right.
I think
That's what a mixture as well. It sounds like you're saying extreme doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't work. And I've never, in the 18 years that I've been counseling and doing nutrition and fitness, I've never worked with somebody who was extreme for more than a couple of months.
Right. At most.
At most. Sometimes it's weeks. And sometimes it does more damage than good. I hear a lot of times people say, I'm just going to do this cleanse just to get me on the right track. And I just go, that's going to mess up your metabolism. It's, the weight that you lose, that's water weight. That's not going to stay off. You're not helping yourself.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Let's talk about the exercise part of it. What do you have to say about exercise?
So I really, and I think I highlight this, especially because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but I really want people to use exercise as their stress relief. I encourage people to find what they like. For some people, it's running. For some people, it's biking. For some people, it's yoga. It's totally different for everyone. And like I said, ideally, you enjoy it, but you can get a balance in there. It's not just yoga 8 days a week or running.
Right.
But what's that?
Variety.
Yeah. And for me, and part of it, and I think for me, this ties into my mental stimulation, is writing up the programs and thinking about how the body works and thinking like, all right, if we're doing planks, that's a lot for the shoulders. Maybe we want to flip over after that, or maybe we want to incorporate something on the back side of the body, the posterior chain. But I love that. I love thinking about it. And then for me, I need it to be my stress relief. I don't have time to take a 2-hour walk. That would be lovely, but kids at home and school, and there's no time for that, and jobs. So now more than ever, and I've seen with nutrition, a lot of people gaining weight during COVID and coping with the stress of it with food. So trying to kind of say like, all right, can we take this in the other direction and actually use your exercise? Again, maybe you stress relieve with really intense cardio. Maybe it's yoga for you. Maybe it's something totally slower. It's interesting how different it is for different people, and maybe even different on a different day for the same person. You know, maybe one day stretching works for me to calm me down. Maybe another day I need to like really get my heart rate up so I can't think about anything else.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. You know, seeing exercise as more than just a sort of, I need to physically do to affect my, you know, external health. There's a psychological and internal health mechanism to exercise.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, something I always like to tell people, and I don't know if this is so obvious or it gets lost all the time, that for me, the purpose of exercise is not so that you can do more exercise tomorrow. It's so that you find how it helps you in your life. Like, we do a bench press today so that tomorrow you can pick up your grandkids without pain, or you can lift up your suitcase overhead and you're able to do that. You know, it's not lifting weights so you can lift more weights.
Yeah.
That comes along with it, but we're lifting weights or doing planks or whatever we do so that things in our life are easier. We don't get injured.
Yes, we live a better life. Yeah, especially as we get older, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm no young buck no more.
Well, I bet, you know, if we'd had this conversation 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, maybe I wouldn't have thought the sustainability part, or I wouldn't have thought the injury prevention part. But again, as we get older, you know, I know if I get injured, I am so bummed out. I'm bummed out because I can't exercise and work. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. So preventing that at all costs is a big part of the whole plan.
For sure. And then you touched on something, social health. Let's talk about that.
So, and you know, it's so different for everybody. Some people might be really happy with one great friend, and that's all they need. Some people might really need a group of friends. I think it's important to surround yourself with people that really make you laugh, make you feel good. I've definitely been at different points in my life where I've had a friend for a while and I've gone, this person is always complaining or always making me feel bad about myself, and maybe it's time to let go of that friendship. And that's not to say, you know, I have good friends that, hey, if you need to complain or you need a shoulder to cry on, I want to be that friend for you. But when it's a complaint about everything all the time, maybe that's not the kind of person that lifts me up, you know? So I'm happy when I'm in a small group of, I don't know, like 3 or 4 people that I know really well. That feels great, you know, being able to either take a walk together or, you know, depending on what's allowed, have drinks together someday in the future.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that ties into our overall health, our overall well-being, the people we surround ourselves with. Sometimes even family members, as you're saying. Sometimes we have to limit the amount of time we spend with negative family members. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. Yeah. Somebody, you know, just thinking about kids, I heard somebody say this and it really just drove it home. He said, a parent can only be as happy as their least happy child. I was like, oh yes, if my daughter's happy and my son is really unhappy, I'm really unhappy. You know, it's like you're so affected by the people around you, especially your kids, because you just have so much invested in them, that it's like you naturally want people to be happy and to find a way to kind of pull them out of whatever they're going through if they need that.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sydney.
You're so welcome. So nice to talk.
Everything you said has been really sort of informative, and I think it'll help a lot of people who hopefully will be able to learn from those points of what it means to be healthy.
Good.